UFC Fight Night, Lewis versus Nascimento. I'm going to be honest, the main event was good. And I was saying before the event started that, it might be one of those heavyweight, complete opposite of a freaking slugfest and just a really, really boring fight. But Derek Lewis went out there and made it a good enough fight to where I was like, okay, maybe it was good enough I stayed up to watch this UFC Fight Night main event. But this card was not worth talking about if it had only had this main event. It had a great main card with a lot of good names, a lot of up-and-comer guys, a few of which got kind of derailed in the UFC lightweight and heavyweight division. We had the prelims filled with great fights, top 15, pretty much, in my opinion, level guys in Charles Johnson and Jake Hadley. We had a war with Waters and Billy Goff as well. Pretty much ranked women's strawweights. 37-second knockout chase, the freaking sniper Hooper who knocked down the former kickboxing champion. It was a great card. Even the women's fights kind of lived up to it. Tabitha Reed Tisha was iffy, but Veronica Hardy, JJ Aldrich was a very good fight as well. But the main point of this video is fights to make next. I'm only going to do the winners, but if you guys want, you guys can comment down below for what I'd like to see the losers do next in their weight class. But again, it's just for the winners. And we're going to go on to the main event, Derek Lewis versus 2, 1. It makes so much sense. It makes way too much sense not to be doing this fight in the UFC heavyweight division when my man Derek Lewis has fought everyone there is in the heavyweight division. He just beat 15 Rodrigo. He's beaten Marcos Rogerio de Lima. These are both in the past year. He's not going outside of the rankings if he just beat number 15 and 14. Has not fought Romanov, but who the hell would like to see a fight with Derek Lewis, Alexander Romanov? I know I don't. He already fought Tai Tuivasa. He lost. I mean, they could schedule the rematch. Sergey Spivak, he lost that one. He beat Marcin Tybura a long time ago. Lost to Giles Almeida. Beat Alexander Volkov. Has not fought Stipe. That's the first guy he has not fought. Knocked out Curtis Blades. He lost to Sergey Pavlovich, if I'm not mistaken. I believe he's fought Sergey, or I could be talking about someone else. Maybe he has not. I think he has, though. He's fought Cyril Gane, and he has not fought Tom Aspinall. He hasn't fought Jones. He hasn't fought Aspinall. And he has not fought Stipe. He's not getting any of those fights. I'm going to be quite frank with you. The only possible fight he could get, Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Right there, number 10 versus number 11. Put it on UFC 307. Main card opener. Absolute banger of a fight. I don't see how, unless it's a Francis Ngannou Derek Lewis situation, I do not see how this is a bad fight to make in the UFC heavyweight division, unless they're both like, oh, this guy hits pretty hard, I don't want to throw punches. Derek Lewis says he's in his prime. He says he needs a little bit of a break. UFC 307's in like October time period, so let's give my man Derek Lewis some time. Jairzinho just fought an unranked Shamil Gaziev. Let's give him a ranked fight. Let's put him on a pay-per-view. Let's make it a fun one. The next fight we did have is Joaquin Buckley, and we're going to go to the right here. Who do y'all think it is? He called out McGregor, but who do we think is a good fight for Joaquin Buckley? It makes all the sense in the world. It is my man Gilbert Burns. My man Gilbert Burns. We go to the UFC welterweight rankings. Obviously, I mean, Buckley's not going to get anyone in that top 5. Madalena, Colby, Shavkat, Bilal, Usman. Ian Gary is calling out Colby. I highly doubt, although it'd be a great like up-and-coming fight for two prospects in the UFC welterweight division who had kind of big mouths in the welterweight division as well. It'd be a very good build-up to the fight, a good main event of a fight night, good fight to put on a pay-per-view, whatever the case may be. I don't think Ian's going to go down in the rankings. Sean Brady just went down in the rankings and beat Kelvin Gastelum on short notice. I believe Kelvin went in on short notice. Thompson, I mean, could make sense, I'll be honest. Joaquin Buckley versus Steve Wonderboy Thompson does make sense, but Buckley shot a few takedowns in his fight with Nursultan, so Steven's like, oh, it's another wrestler, I don't want that fight. So let's do Gilbert Burns and Joaquin Buckley. Gilbert has fought a lot of the guys in this UFC welterweight division. It's on a little bit of a losing streak right now. Some people are saying give him Sean Brady. Some people are saying maybe Jeff Neal deserves a shot up there for some reason. I don't know. I think Buckley makes the most sense to get that push, especially because he's becoming a pretty big star in this UFC welterweight division. Put it on a main event, maybe in August, maybe in July, something like that would make sense. I forgot, I made a post a while ago of when Gilbert Burns would want to return in the UFC welterweight division, but I assume it's in a good while. He's not going to fight very soon, so gives a good amount of time. Buckley just had a pretty good fight, pretty long fight, a decision fight with Nursultan, so give him some time. Do it in July or August. We got Carlos Ulberg, the next guy. He went out there and destroyed Alonzo in 12 freaking seconds. UFC light heavyweight rankings will put him around 11, number 12. I don't really think they should do an Alonzo Menefield, or sorry, an Anthony Smith fight, because they'd be right next to each other in the rankings. But the loser of Johnny Walker, Volkan Oezdemir, would be right around that number 8, number 9 spot. Ulberg would be around that number 11, number 12. Would be a good enough step up for Ulberg to fight at UFC 305, and a good step down for the loser of Volkan and Johnny. If you don't know, now you'll know. Johnny and Volkan are fighting on June 22nd, UFC Saudi Arabia. I believe it's the main card opener, but it could be like the second or third fight on that main card, which is freaking stacked. If a main card, oh my god, it's such an amazing main card. But Ulberg versus either of these guys, they're both strikers, would make for a very, very fun UFC 305 Perth, Australia fights. Next one, we have Diego Ferreira. He's a little bit old, so I don't think the UFC is going to be like, well, it's Diego Ferreira, we're pushing him into that top 15. They're probably going to give him another up-and-coming prospect to see if that prospect is ready to get his shot in the UFC's lightweight division rankings. Joel was actually supposed to fight Mateusz Rebecki a while back. That fight got canceled, so let's just do them two. Winner, I'd say 100% would deserve a shot into that top 15. They're both right outside of it. Joel's only really lost to Arman Tsarukyan recently in the UFC, whereas Diego recently is Gregor Gillespie. It's Benil Dariush, and I'm forgetting the other guy that he lost to as well. There was one other dude he lost to, I believe, because he was on a 3-fight, Mateusz Gamrot. Those are the 3 guys. So they're both only losing to legit top 15 guys. Put them against each other, and then they'll get another crack at that UFC lightweight top 15. I'd like to see the winner of this fight. Let's find lightweight. I'd love to see the winner against Rafael Dos Anjos, but if you do follow my Instagram account, Rafael said he's going to be permanently moving up to the UFC welterweight division, so sorry, we're not doing that one. So we could honestly just wait, because this fight will probably be in July, August. We can wait for, like, Benoit Saint-Denis versus whoever. I don't know who they're going to get. Benoit versus Dan Hooker, maybe. I don't know. Benoit versus Moicano. Benoit versus Faziev. I don't know who they're going to give Benoit Saint-Denis, but the loser of Benoit's next fight versus the winner of this fight is what I would like to see. I don't know why I exit out of there. The next one we have is Sean Woodson. He was calling out Bryce Mitchell, who actually accepted to fight him, but I'm going to be honest, Bryce Mitchell at 12, going all the way out of the rankings after he recently beat Dan Ige and only lost to really legit guys like number 7 Josh Emmett and then top 5 guys in the UFC featherweight division. Bryce may have accepted it. I don't think it makes sense for Bryce to go that low in the rankings. Plus, I like to feed Bryce other grapplers to make good grappling stylistic matchups and, you know, selfishly to remove a UFC grappler from the top echelon of the featherweight division. Like, I would love Bryce Mitchell, Aljamain Sterling, because I would remove either Sterling or Bryce from the UFC featherweight title picture, but I like Sadiq. Sadiq is coming off a loss to 14 Diego. He has to go outside the rankings somewhere. Why not a guy that just beat Alex Caceres, who was previously ranked? Let's do this one. Co-main event of a UFC fight night. Winner, I guess, could get, like, the loser of Edson Barbosa, Lerone Murphy. They could get the loser of Arnold Allen and Giga Chikadze, something like that. A good top 10 fight after this one, but it's a good one. Good striking match between these two. And then lastly, for the main card at least, we got Waldo Cortez da Costa. 3 wins in a row in that heavyweight division. The stacked heavyweight. I'm just kidding. But If we're looking at guys, I believe he does deserve a top 15 fight now. His only loss is to Marcos Rogerio de Lima. I don't want to give him Rodrigo Nascimento. That just wouldn't be a fun stylistic matchup. Romanov wouldn't. Derek Lewis shouldn't be going down. I already said Derek should fight Jairzinho. So let's give Tai Tuivasa a very winnable fight. A very, very, very winnable fight for UFC 305. Chuck that on the main card as well. We got 2 UFC 305 bangers already on this match-making video. So Waldo, Tai Tuivasa, very, very winnable for my man, Biggie Boy. Now, the next one, we got is Chase Hooper. Chase Hooper, you might be saying, oh my God, dude deserves Islam Makhachev right now. Sure. He's probably going to knock out Islam in his next fight. But we got to give him slow, methodical steps up in competition, because we see when we give Hooper too big of a step up, like against Alex Caceres, he lost that one, and not even really a step up, just like a weird shot when he was just moving up to the lightweight division, got knocked out by Steve Garcia. So he's improving fight by fight. He's very, very young, so let's give him slow, methodical step-ups so he doesn't just plateau and lose to a guy that maybe in a year's time he would have beaten. Let's give him those slow steps up in this lightweight division. And Claudio Puelles on two losses in a row to Fares Siam, as well as Dan Hooker. He got his shot in the top 15 last year. If he can win against Claudio, win one more, then Hooper's right in the mix for a UFC top 15 fight at lightweight. I think this is a good fight. Not too big of a test, but definitely a move above a guy like Slava Borshev and his last few fights in the lightweight division. And it's a fun stylistic matchup. When are you going to see a fight with Claudio Puelles? That is going to be a fun fight. Chase Hooper makes that a fun fight. Elvis Brenner, Esteban Ribovic. Some of you guys will be like, why would we do both of these prospects? Well, Elvis is coming off a loss. So he's not really a prospect anymore. He's still very good, very young, up and coming in this lightweight division. Beat Guram, beat Zubaira Tukhugov, then had one win in between there, which I'm kind of blanking about. But Esteban Ribovic, he's on a 2-fight win streak, I believe, in this UFC lightweight division. Just beat Terrence McKinney, who's a guy that's beaten so many good guys in the lightweight division, submitted for Siam, knocked out Matt Frivola, and the way for Esteban to win that fight as fast as he did, we got to give him a step up. This is a huge test for anyone in the lightweight division. To go out there and beat Elvis Brenner is huge for their career. Just like Chase Hooper, if he can go out there and beat Elvis Brenner, I would say he's 1 fight away, maybe 2 fights away from a shot in the side of that top 15 and a win against my man Elvis Brenner or against Esteban Ribovic for Elvis Brenner. Gets him right back in the mix of possibly getting back in to contention, to fighting into that top 15. And come on, this is a really, really fun fight. The reason I say UFC 306, you might be like, this guy's Brazilian, this guy is from Argentina, I believe. You might be wondering why UFC 306. Well, Esteban Ribovic said in an interview I watched a few days ago, he wanted on UFC 306. But he did not want to fight a Mexican. He did not want to fight any of the Mexicans in the UFC lightweight division. So what I came up with, I saw a few Mexicans that would make actual sense for Esteban to fight. But he said he didn't want that. So Elvis Brenner and Esteban makes a lot of sense in my opinion. Very, very good fight. Tabitha Hichi, McKenzie Dern. McKenzie's at 7. Tabitha's at 11. She just beat Tisha Torres, or Tisha Pennington, who was ranked number 7 when she was having her baby situation and things like that, and was no longer able to fight and had to take some time off. So she pretty much just beat a top 10 girl. Both of them beat Tisha Pennington by split decision. Dern's coming off 2 losses. Ribas is kind of like in that limbo where she's fighting at strawweight, she's fighting at flyweight. I don't know what weight class she's going to stay at, so I don't know. I wouldn't bank on her fighting Amanda Ribas. Luana's coming off wins. She already fought Lupi. She deserves to step up again. Let's give her McKenzie Dern. And let's put it on a fight night main card. Probably the third to last fight of a fight night main card. Makes a lot of sense. Top 10, pretty much. I mean, Ricci's right on the brink of that. And, for the, those type of fans, if you can, catch my drift here, look at this comment right here. If you can catch my drift, it would make a lot of sense for people to tune in. I'm just going to say that right now. Not for me, but a lot of, certain types of fans would love to tune in to a fight like this. Ricci and McKenzie. Their next fight, we do have twins. One of them, their eyes looking a little messed up here. I don't know if you guys can see it if you're on your phone. You have to zoom in or something. But they do look very, very similar. And that's what I noticed when I was looking at potential matchups for Trey Waters. I mean, that's not the reason I picked them to fight, although some people in the comments were saying that. But I would like a good step up against a veteran like Trevin Giles. A lot of people in the welterweight and when Trevin was at middleweight, whenever they win 2 in a row, they kind of just get fed to Trevin Giles on the prelims of a fight night, or they put him as the first fight of a main card. Either way, Trevin always has pretty good fights, and he's a good, solid test. He's not going to be a title contender or anything. He's not going to make a run in the welterweight division. He's just the fight people use, the UFC uses as kind of a gatekeeper to that upper echelon of the welterweight division. If they beat Trevin, they are top tier welterweight fighters. Not necessarily top 15 level, but they are top upper echelon welterweight contenders. Now, Trey Waters had his war with Billy Goff. He knocked out Josh Kinlan before that. 2 very fun fights, 2 impressive performances. 2 in a row. If he can win this one or 2 more, and he's in that top 15. It's just a very fun fight. Again, I didn't pick them just because they look alike. Next fight, Alessandro Costa versus Charles Johnson. Charles just beats Jake Hadley very, very well. He's on a 3-fight win streak. Azat Maksum. Jake Hadley, of course, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm blanking on the first guy he beat on that win streak. Let's see. No, it was only 2 in a row. Azat Maksum and Jake Hadley lost a robbery to Ode Osborne, let's just be honest. They lost to Cody Durden, who 100% is top 15 level, and lost to Rafael Estevan, but he's doing very good since then. Azat and Jake Hadley. Still, he's lost to 2 guys that are unranked, so I don't necessarily want to give him a shot in the top 15 just because he's won 2 in a row. Alessandro is also 2-2 in the UFC's flyweight division. Has only lost to ranked guys in Steve Erceg, and I'm blanking on the next one, Amir Albazi. So, if you guys can put these 2 together at UFC 306, not as the prelim headliner, I'm saying if it was a UFC fight night, this would be a very good fight. So, UFC fight night, prelim headliner, top echelon of the prelims, or you put this on just regular old prelims of UFC 306. I know Alessandro Costa would love to fight at UFC 306. It's a very fun fight. For the fans, I actually think this would be really, really fun because Charles' takedown defense has been getting better and better and better. Alessandro's kicks are amazing. Charles' boxing is really, really good. This would be a really fun fight, in my opinion. And last but not least, we do have Veronica Hardy. I was going to say Macedo. I was about to blank there, but she has changed her name to not Greg Hardy, freaking Dan Hardy's last name as well. Casey O'Neill versus Veronica Hardy. Let's check out those rankings again. Casey O'Neill is at 14. She just lost to Ariane Da Silva. I don't want to do Miranda versus Casey. I think Casey should establish herself as top 15 material, beating an unranked girl. Veronica is on a 3-fight win streak, beat some good girls. Juliana Miller and, of course, JJ Aldrich are the first 2 that popped to mind, and I believe one more, Jamie Lynn Horth, was the last girl from Canada, who I believe was undefeated when she fought her. But I do believe she is top 15 ready in this women's flyweight division, and UFC 304, she was on UFC 304 last time. It would make sense for Casey to be on UFC 304. Manchester, let's do it. Women's MMA fight, early prelims, just to set up that pay-per-view. That is what I've got for UFC Fight Night, Lewis versus Rosenstruck. I'm just kidding. That's what I want. I want that fight night so bad. Rosenstruck versus Derek Lewis is an amazing fight. But that's what I got for this one. Make sure to like and subscribe and everything like that. And last but not least, I'm going to put it in the pinned comment, or I'm going to put it in, what's it called? I'm going to put it in the pinned comment, or I'm going to put it in the description, but make sure to go on to my Patreon right here. If you want to become a free member, you can. You don't really get too much with that one, but $5 a month for all of my MMA bets. And then $10 a month, this is the one I recommend because we're going to be adding so much freaking stuff. To the Bird MMA Gold, we have all of my bets. We have videos breaking down my bets. We have detailed lists of fighters to watch outside of the UFC. I kid you not, I have a list of about 400 to 500 guys outside of the UFC, from Australia, from South America, from North America, from Russia, from Asia, from Africa, all sorts of fighters from every continent around the globe that should be fighting in the UFC, that are close to fighting in the UFC, and I'll tell you guys how to watch all of those fights for free. If there's no UFC on, that is what you want. You want to be able to watch all of these great fighters, with links to watch them as well. It also includes, I kid you not, am developing my own UFC rankings as well. I've done flyweight, I've done bantamweight, and I've done featherweight. I'll do lightweight later on today. I'm not only doing the top 15, I'm doing the entire weight class. The entire UFC weight class. I remember UFC flyweight had like 37 flyweights. I had to rank every single flyweight on the entire roster. I'm going to be ranking every UFC fighter currently listed on the UFC website. Absolutely every single one of them. That's another perk you get right there. Not everyone on the top 15, everyone outside of it as well. So all of my bets, videos about those bets, how to watch great fighters outside the UFC for free, and a list of all of those fighters, as well as my own UFC ranking system. And of course, I want to be developing that tier right there, Burt MMA Gold, to be as best as it possibly can be. So if there's any more perks, any more things you would like me to add to it, just let me know. Comment down below, DM me on Instagram, whatever the case may be, and I will add it. 25, obviously you don't have to do that one. I don't care if you do that one. That one's just if you want to support some extra, doesn't really matter. $10, that's the one I recommend. But make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, follow the Instagram. I post freaking 20 times a day on there. The Instagram story goes insane as well. That's kind of what I've been doing since I've left YouTube for a little bit. But thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one.